Like so many people around the country, I just saw something that made my stomach turn. Something I didn't think that I would see, even under this administration. A United States senator pushed to the ground and handcuffed after asking questions of a federal government official.
Hands behind your back. Hands behind your back.
If you let my hands go ahead, put them behind my back.
All right. Cool.
What are we supposed to do about that?
Hey, Pete, I don't know if you can really speak for most of the country because your decrepit party has an approval rating that is sub 20%. I think it's at 18 last I checked. And so the whole country is sick and tired of you guys. And before you start spreading this ridiculous story that Alex Padilla just wanted to ask a few questions, you're going to get the truth here. You're not going to hear about this anywhere on propagandist corporate press media, CNN, ABC, CBS, the like. I'm going to show you exactly what this guy did and exactly why the Democrats keep thinking that they can get away with this stuff. But first, I want to share with you, Pete, what your entire party could not hesitate to reprimand President Trump and anybody for that matter back in the day. Watch this, Pete.
No one is above the law.
Nobody's above the law.
No person is above the law.
No one 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 is above the law.
You're not above the law. You're not an elite. You're not untouchable. And so it's nice to see that the rule of law has returned.
That's the Democrat playbook, isn't it? It's all right for me, but not for thee. I'm going to share with you the actual video so you can get the truth. And then I'm going to show with the difference, because remember how I said architecting narratives. That's all they're good at. That's all they care about. Here is the footage that's been going around, that's been being spread by all the propagandist media outlets and all these congressmen and left hypocrite Democrats. Watch.
Guys, ready? And bell. Sir, hands up, hands up. I'm Senator Alex Padilla. I have questions for the secretary, because the fact of the matter is a half a dozen violent criminals that you're rotating on your
I also want to
hands off.
How many of our ICE agents have been docked?
On the ground. On the ground. Hands behind your back. Hands behind your back.
If you let my hands go ahead, put them behind my back.
All right. Cool. One hand. Lay flat. Lay flat. Other hand, sir. Other hand.
So remember how they kept saying that the right wing or whatever Republicans were sharing all those cheap fakes of Joe Biden, and basically a cheap fake is a way of kind of editing out the video to make it look and seem like it's out of context. They literally just did the exact same thing by starting the video with security and police officers. First of all, he's not wearing his senator pin, his Congress, his pin that communicates that he's a member of Congress. He barged in there. I'm going to share with you the video in just a second. But they are engaging in the same exact staged, ridiculous, preposterous, absolutely vile waste of taxpayer dollars by starting that video and sharing that video. The starting point is right when the officers go, "Why are you doing this? What's going on?" without giving the full context. And now you've got Hakee, nobody's dream Jeffries, saying this, as well as millions of other Democrats. Watch.
He was at that press conference doing his job, asking questions about what is taking place in California, the state that he represents, and on behalf of the American people. And he was recklessly and aggressively manhandled.
Either they don't care that their approval rating is the worst in the history of the party, or they just literally don't know any better, because that is the exact opposite of what happened, Mr. Hakee, nobody's dream Jeffries. By the way, I dare you to find me one individual walking planet Earth right now that is as soulless, lifeless, automaton, robotic, rigid as Hakee, nobody's dream Jeffries. Hey, Hakee, here's a little business advice for you. The insomnia industry is worth billions and billions of dollars. I am telling you right now, if they can bottle up your energy and aura, and when you speak, it instantly wants to put me to sleep, you would make a lot of money, pal, because you're going nowhere in politics. That's for sure. You're exactly what it's like ordering Obama off of Temu. That's exactly who you are. That's why they call you the dollar store Obama. Find me one person who is as lifeless as this guy. I mean, it's unbelievable. Okay, here's the truth. This is exactly what happened. Padilla wasn't there to simply ask questions and exercise his congressional rights and duty as a member of Congress, asking questions of the Secretary of Homeland Security. No, he wasn't there at all, because he could have identified himself and say, hey, I'm Senator Alex Padilla. May I ask a question? But instead, he did this. Watch. Okay, so here is Secretary Gnome giving her press conference this morning. I want you to pay close attention. She's in the middle of her statement, which she's allowed to do. This isn't the question phase of the press conference. And watch raging, rabid, lunatic Padilla storm in, and then it's a shock and wonder why security didn't grab him. Watch.
We are staying here to liberate this city from the socialist and the burdensome leadership that this governor and that this mayor have placed on this country, and what they have tried to insert into this city. So I want to say thank you to every single person that has been able to do this. Also, I want to talk specifically to the rioters and to the politicians in Los Angeles.
A half a dozen violent criminals that you're rotating on your.
I also want to talk about specifically how many of our ICE agents have been doxxed for doing their duty.
That's exactly what happened. This wasn't the question phase. He didn't come in there like an actual polite member of society and say, hey, my name's Alex Padilla. May I ask you a question? I have a question as a representative of California. I'd like to ask you a question, Secretary Gnome. No. He barged in there because that's what the hypocrite Democrats think. They've gotten away with murder time and time again, and they think that there's no consequences to their actions. It's preposterous. Their approval rating is the lowest ever. Never mind the fact that Gutfeld brought this up, which I think is an excellent point. How quickly they forget what happened to President Trump. The man's life was in jeopardy, not once, not twice, maybe 3 times. There was almost 3 assassination attempts on our president, one of them almost fatal if he hadn't turned his head. So is it really a surprise that maybe security is on high alert? We don't know who you are. I don't know who you are. I barely know who he is. And I've lived in California for 40 years because he's such a ridiculous waste of government bureaucracy. I don't know who Padilla. Do you know who Padilla is? So some guy barging in there and saying he's a member of Congress without any propriety, any decency, any decorum. Of course security is going to grab him. What do you expect? And they are making this out. And you know who they is? The hypocrites, the Democrats. They're making this out to be, oh, this is just an example of who they are. Mayor Johnson of Chicago saying, this is what would have happened if the Confederacy would have won. These guys are dangerous. They care so little about us. They care so little about America. AOC coming out and saying, this is all Trump's fault. Warren, I mean, they're all coming out in droves. Never mind what Hakee, Pete Buttigieg. I'm so flabbergasted. This is so awful. I'm sharing sentiments, what the whole country is feeling right now. The whole country is like me, Pete. We voted for this. We want this guy out. We want all these illegal criminals out of here. The American people have spoken. We're sick and tired of your shenanigans. We're sick and tired of you do nothing, ne'er do well hypocrites. Check out what Secretary Gnome said right after that incident to Fox's Martha McCallum. Check this out.
I had a conversation with the senator after this. We sat down for 10 to 15 minutes and talked about the fact that nobody knew who he was. He didn't say who he was, that until he was already had been lunging forward and people were trying to detain him for quite a period of time, and that this, we're leaders, we're public servants. And if he had requested a meeting, I would have loved to have sat down and had a conversation with him. That coming into a press conference like this is political theater. It's wrong and it does a disservice to this country. country and the people who live here. So we sat down, had a conversation. We probably disagree on 90% of the topics, but we agreed to exchange phone numbers. We'll continue to talk and share information, and I think that's the way it should be in this country. I wish he would have acted that way in the beginning instead of creating a scene like this.
Excellent point, Secretary Gnome. If he would have acted like that in the beginning, none of us would be talking about this, but that's what he wants. They care more about being social media influencers than they do of their constituents. They care more about getting these viral moments because they're scared to death that they actually have to get a real job. They're scared of being primaried. They're scared of losing the next election because they can't do anything else. They have zero skills. They are all proving the absolute devastation, the damage and consequences of DEI woke ideologies because they are the embodiment of it. Look at Steve Sadal, the pit bull, Trump's lead attorney in the Fannie Willis Cash Money G case. He posted this on X saying, question, why did Senator Padilla, upon entering the room, not say, I am, and I would like to ask Secretary Gnome a question, instead of the method he chose to interrupt the press conference? Exactly, Steve. My sentiments exactly, because they don't want to ever get a real job. Deputy FBI Director Dan Bongino said, with regard to the incident in LA this afternoon, the senator in question was not wearing a security pin and physically resisted law enforcement when confronted. That's exactly what happened. That's exactly who they are, and they just prove themselves time and time again. So in the words of Alex Padilla, which, by the way, he went on this ridiculous news conference and tried to make it seem like he was the victim, like they always do. I was just trying to do what I'm supposed to do as a congressman, et cetera, BS, BS, BS. But you know, Alex, this was you back in 2023 when they were going after Trump saying no one is above the law. Share if you agree. Well, what goes around comes around, Alex. And everybody who's watching this right now, share with me right now. Comment down below. No one is above the law. And if you agree with the sentiments and everything that you discovered, the truth that was embedded in this video, what I want you to do is I want you to share this if you agree. I can't wait to get your comments on this. Let me know in the comments down below. I see you eyeing this amazing one-of-a-kind, made in the USA design. This is located in our shop. In the pinned comment and description, you can get ones for yourself. It makes an amazing gift. Be original, you know, somebody's birthday or, you know, all sorts of holidays are coming up. 4th of July, this will make a great 4th of July gift. I highly recommend you get one. Check out these videos coming up on the screen right here. You can tap my face right over here to subscribe and follow. It's absolutely free. And as always, may God bless you and may God bless the USA and all who defend her. I'll see you soon.